who's hot, who's not. I know the graphic is going to come up right there. Simba Bhora, with their 2-1 victory, they've gone shot straight to the top of the log standings on 18 points. The same number with MWOS, who are second. MWOS are in action tomorrow. If they win or they get a draw, they go back on top. But look at those teams in green: Highlanders, ZPC Kariba, FC Platinum, Chicken Inn, and Yada. Well, so I think for me, when I'm looking probably at the movers there, for me, Simba Bhora have really done well. Highlanders as well. That victory, I think, did them wonders. But I also want to look at that bottom half, Vero. Maybe that's where we can start from. In fact, who shocked you the most today? Not only the bottom four, even right at the top, who shocked you the most?
Yada.
Okay.
For a good cause. Yeah.
For a good cause?
Yes.
Explain that to us.
They have been struggling and facing former champions, Ngezi Platinum Stars. We've been playing good football since the start of the season. I think for me, they are one of the teams that I've been marveling their type of play since the start of the season. And I really didn't expect Yada to prevail over them. Because Yada are still yet to figure themselves out. But the manner in which they overpowered Ngezi Platinum Stars in their own backyard, I think for me that stands out.
Victory on the road for the churchmen. Who shocked you the most?
ZPC Kariba.
How so?
Beating Triangle. Away from Nyamonga. Different. It feels different.
Okay.
To talk about ZPC Kariba winning away from Nyamonga. To me, yeah. And also, first defeat for Kaka at home. Genesis Mangombe at home in 3 games. So, I think ZPC, maybe it's because of the continuity process that they did. They retained 3/4 of their squad. Right? And all those guys understands what Newton, Chitewe, and Expense Chitugutugu's tactics. We know ZPC. If they score, they shut the shop. And they can get away with that win. Or if they don't score, they don't concede.
Oh.
Yes, they can get away with at least something. And that result, to me, I think it's very, very, very important, especially to ZPC. And even if you look at where they are, on 13 points, around this time last year, they were not even there. Because they had too many draws, especially those new draws. Yeah.
For you, Mr. Teach, it's a bit different. Paint a picture for us. You know, when you look at this,
I think
what is the story here?
I think for me, I think it's character primarily from Simba Bhora, given the topsy-turvy nature of how that game against Kwekwe went. Obviously, Kwekwe have had their own struggles, but I think after they came to the capital over the weekend, I think they seem to be back on track. And for them to, go ahead and then have Kwekwe pull back, and I think late on, I think that's when Simba Bhora have just turned on the power. I think, a lot of questions were raised off them, especially when Joe Lupaxia took over and they had that sort of stuttering start to the season. But I think the turnaround point, that big win that they had at home to Manica Diamonds, I think they've really just picked up from there. Obviously, they've been held by MWOS, who are their rivals, and maybe speaks to the evenness between those two teams. For me as well, Highlanders, I think, they've also been inconsistent at the start of the season, and, missing Melekaya Ngube and Mason, I'm sure 2 very critical players for Boso, and then being able to get that win over a Bikita side that, although it blows hot and cold on their day, especially, they can be disruptive, but they were able to just navigate that and get a positive result. And look where they are now. I think of the traditional Giants, I think they are the only team now. I think all the way up to 4th now, I think they are. And yeah, so I think those are some of the key talking points. I'm really impressed, like what David highlighted with ZPC Kariba. I think it's almost 900 kilometers that they had to travel to get to Gibo from Nyamunga. And to be able to go there and get a result.
So it was what? A worthwhile point.
I think
Worthwhile 3 points.
it was. I mean, I think this is a massive 3 points because very few teams are going to be able to go to Gibo and get a point. You know, one of the reasons why ZPC Kariba have been a staple in our league since 2014 when they got promotion is that many a team failed to come out of Nyamunga with anything. So if they can maintain that and then here and there pick up a win at Gibbo, pick up a win in the capital, pick up a win in Bulawayo, I think they could get comfortable in those mid-table positions. So yeah, I mean, it's good to see there seems to be a shift in terms of where football is going. And I think my statement,
okay.
And you look at those power rankings. I don't know.
So for me, I thought this was probably one of you was going to talk about this. Maybe bring us back that the power rankings so that we go, because my story really is right at the bottom. Yeah. You look at the bottom 4 teams, you know, when you talk about Zimbabwe football and the names Dynamos and Caps United are mentioned, you know, people out there, they know Zimbabwe football because of these 2 teams. But look, after Matchday 9, that's where they are. So tying to what you were saying, Bora Rinyepi, there's something rotten inside these 2 teams.
I think both teams suffer from a similar condition that is institutional arrogance. To assume that because you're a Dynamos, you're a Caps United, you have history, you have tradition, you've won titles, you've won cups, it's enough for you to just go on the field of play and beat anybody. You look at the teams that are at the top, whether it's Simba Bhora, MWOS, whether it's Ngezi, we even talk about ZPC Kariba, a team that, you know, has only got about 10, 11 years of top flight football behind them. These are teams, not necessarily all of them being cash rich, but they're trying to do the right things in terms of how the business of football is being done. You hardly hear about player strife at ZPC Kariba. We haven't really had it at Simba Bhora. I think the only things that we criticize are the player movement in terms of the ins and the outs. But once it's there, and you know what they've been able to do with Wadzanai, what MWOS are doing at Angoni Stadium, Dynamos and Caps United, I think, if you look at the last 4 or 5 years, the only thing that has been consistent about them is that they operate in crisis most of the time. It's just that Lloyd Chitembwe has been then able to sort of just swim through those waters and survive. But I don't think that's where Caps United should be. And this season, I think it's hit a boiling point. Why? Because now there are a lot of start-ups, whether it's your Scotland, whether it's your MWOS, whether it's your Yada, who are able to get the results that they can get, and even some of the players that they had, like Kamabili last season. I think now the long-standing Caps United fans, the long-standing Dynamos fans are looking across at teams that they turn their nose up at, maybe as recently as even last season, and realizing these guys are not only playing better football than us, they're better organized than us, and they have a direction. So I think that the chaos, Dynamos is a disaster.